This is the Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Here are your hosts, Sean Green and Ryan Kramer. I can't believe we're letting these guys on my network.
Welcome back, everyone. Sports Gambling Podcast live. Sean, Second Money Kramer. My partner picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. It's happening, Kramer.
Just getting caught up on the old social media, seeing people posting pictures of ladders in the off season.
I know. Cannot wait for some NFL draft prop ladders. Only a few months away. And of course, we are going to be continuing our NFL draft special, getting you ready with some of our favorite picks and props for the NFL draft. And of course, it starts next Thursday. And VSiN is doing a special primetime draft edition. Nice companion piece, nice watch along starting at 7:00 East. A VSiN primetime draft edition, and then 11 o'clock East cashing out draft edition, plus the NFL Draft Hub on the VSiN Watch app, featuring exclusive analysts or analysis, team needs, and insights. Get it all over at VSiN.com/draft. That's VSiN.com/draft, and over on the VSiN Watch app. Joining us on the line, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line, our good buddy, our pal from the Bottom Line Bombs podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Mr. CJ Sullivan. CJ, what's happening? How's your Friday night?
Friday night's not bad, fellas. Although I was listening to you, and I'm with you in the same boat. I tailed you guys with the Dallas Mavericks, not too great there. And I was questioning if I should. Then I heard you guys talking about it. I even listened to your show. And you guys were about it. I'm like,
already throwing us in the bus.
Well, no, it was supposed to be a compliment because I just read that you guys were tossing a VIP sharp only NBA contest.
Yep.
The two of you. I mean, two of the best NBA sharps out there, you know, like, wow, well, if their guys are on Mavericks, I'll do that. And then I listened to the rest of the show. And then Ryan didn't even realize that Golden State was the favorite in that series. I'm like, well, maybe I might have put a little too many eggs in this basket here.
That was a classic don't know ball reference.
It was an honest mistake. I didn't mean to throw
slanders. I was invited to the party. Is this jealousy?
Like, he's like the secretary who wins the March Madness pool because she picks the mascots or all the 1 seeds, which probably would have won your pool this year.
Right.
Oh, don't worry. 100%.
I have
there might be a ghost picker behind the scenes.
Oh, look out.
I'm coming for this title.
I will say this about that. Yeah, I'll say this about that game tonight. We were talking about this, Sean. Whoever the producer is there at ESPN is going for a sports Emmy because he's been making fantastic cuts to Nico Harrison. Maybe after every Grizzly basket, they just cut to Nico. He's just got that stare, like the dad watching his kid strike out in a little league. Like, I'm so much fan. You know how much I talk about about you guys that you're my pride and joy, and you're an absolute failure. But he will always have those 2.5 quarters in February when his championship team was out there and that Mavericks looks great.
And go to ISO on Nico. Camera 4 ISO on.
Shots are great. Make sure you check out. The videos.
We need a cutout of him at the studio back there, just looking over our shoulders for all of our picks.
He's great.
I think we just put a picture of him in the corner, and that's the punishment. You have to go to the Nico corner.
Go to the Nico corner. Just universally hated by all Mavs fans. Speaking of Dallas, I see you got some long shot stuff for the Dallas Cowboys in your mock draft, or you're in your draft props. I mean, we got a mix, and again, check out the pods. We go in depth, but I don't know. You want to start with the long shots? Do you want to work your way up? What are you doing?
I brought a couple with him. Yeah, I brought a couple with him because my show, the Bottom Line Bombs. I like to throw some bombs out there. All you gotta do is hit one of them. But also the final week leading up to the draft, as you know, as every sharp will tell you, the value's been gone and exasperated. They love rubbing it into what the numbers used to be, and they really just suck the joy out of it. So this is where I like to find the big bombs, though. We can still find it because you were saying there's so much misinformation out there. We're going on beat reporters and everything like that. So you have to think outside the box. And the most polarizing figure so far has been Shedeur Sanders. He's gone from number 2 to the second round, all the speculation, which creates an opportunity. You have to think what team is going to want him. It kind of reminds me of the Johnny Manziel situation where it's like, it just takes that one team and they went up and grabbed them, it turned out to be Cleveland or whatever it is. So let's have a fun team that has to do a big move. And I'm looking at these Dallas Cowboys here. I mean, they say you can either be bad, you can either be good, don't be bad, or don't be boring. You certainly can't be both. And right now the Cowboys are both. And Jerry Jones, I think he's going to do one last crazy move before he gets out of there. Because he hired Schottenheimer. That's dull. He's taking all the thing. I think for the Dallas, there's two of them you can go with this, right? Dallas Cowboys to draft Shedeur Sanders is 45-1. Now, this all made all the sense in the world like a month ago. Him and Deion, of course, are friends. You can have Deion coach, maybe he promised to retire his number. Who cares? Throw him in the ring. You don't have to do much to do that anymore anyways. And you could also stack it up. And speaking of ladders, there's a little draft step ladder. To draft a quarterback first is 130-1 for Dallas Cowboys. Now, obviously, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can trade down, you can trade up, but I think if Shedeur slides out after the first couple of minutes, then they can start getting aggressive. Like, well, maybe we should take him. Maybe they'll take a pick, then work their way back into the draft in the first, second round to grab Shedeur before he slides anymore. So I'll tell you both. I think it's a possibility that Jerry Jones is just that crazy. I mean, he loves Shedeur Sanders. They have these huge meetings with him. Why not? 45-1 and 130-1 to take a quarterback.
I want the Cowboys to get on the clock and Shedeur still be available.
Yes.
To see where's Jerry? Is he in the camera shot or did he already run off screen to make the call?
Well, and CJ, yes, there's a number of different. Yeah, again, it's 131, 50-1. But I'll say this: there's a number of stuff that kind of points you potentially in that direction. We knew Deion had some meetings with Jerry Jones. Everyone thought it was about him becoming the coach. Oh, it turns out he signed the extension at Colorado. Yeah. They went another direction coaching. What were these meetings about? And then there were also some rumors floating around about potentially the Browns trading for Dak Prescott. The Browns don't have a quarterback right now. Yes, they signed Joe Flacco.
Pickett. Come on,
Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett. But imagine they trade Dak.
Just imagine. And remember when Jerry wanted Johnny Football, and he wrote it down on the paper and handed it out. So much so where they couldn't tell him like, all right, Jerry, just give us the paper. We'll hand it in. Don't worry. And they pumped it up, threw it away. Yeah, we'll take your lunch order. Don't worry about it. Just listen to us, Grandpa. And I think maybe this time he's going to fight for it. Like I said, just give me the opportunity. And it's a little bit personal in our heart. We want the chaos for the Cowboys. We want the most chaotic, worst thing for the Cowboys. It just seems right.
And Shedeur Sanders, born in Tyler, Texas, of course, grew up there. Grew up there.
Oh my God, it couldn't get better.
There's a lot of stuff pointing that way. See, he went to high school, obviously, in Cedar Hill, Texas.
Would be a great way to help ease the blow of that crazy cap hit they have with Dak.
Well, and all of a sudden you could pay Mike Parsons. You don't have to worry about CeeDee Lamb. You can start spending money in free agency again. So it solves a lot of problems getting that quarterback on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
CJ, what else
got
you like
podcast guest maybe for the rest of the year. I mean, all kinds of needs are fit when you do that. Now, I'll go with my other long shot bomb before I give you the nice clean one there, since we're at it. And I heard you guys already talking about how the Rams would like to get a wide receiver and a weapon. The Rams are in a weird position this year where they're kind of sitting back. They kind of do whatever they want to. And McVay, with that idle mind, who knows what goes on with him? I mean, he's got that White House level Adderall. His mind is always racing. He's flying around. Now, last year, he really wanted to get Brock Bowers. And he made a move when he made forward, couldn't get him. Tyler Warren is this year's Brock Bowers, but he's not as good. First of all, he's over under at 10.5 at plus money. I feel if he doesn't go in that top 5, he's easily going to slip out. He's like one of those guys that and if he does drop out of that top 10, so I like the over 10.5 at plus money for Tyler Warren. You guys were just breaking down how the Jets probably won't get it. Maybe we'll get to the Colts, but once he gets out of that top 10, I think that's when McVay will start getting antsy and say, "This is my opportunity." Just like Jones, to pounce for it. The Rams to draft Tyler Warren is 45-1, and this is a move. This is a marriage where it's a coach that wants this player, wants a player like that, a playmaker, and will be aggressive to get it. And it seems like a perfect fit. So when you're looking at these long shot bombs like that, all you need is one guy to slip, and then another team to want that person, and then with these high numbers, that's where you come up. I like Tyler Warren. 45 to 1.
I don't think it's gonna be 45 to 1 for long. That was a very coherent, well thought out angle and bet.
Yeah, great reminding everyone that they wanted Brock Bowers. They were considering trading up for Brock Bowers, and everyone, if you're thinking like, oh, this is crazy, they'll never do that. That's what everyone said about the Falcons. Then they drafted Michael Penix. The Raiders wanted. Yeah. The Raiders then drafted Brock Bowers because they said, "Screw it, we don't know it. We thought we were going to draft Michael Penix," and then everything gets blown up after there. So that's why you should probably stay away from some of that chalk, unless you really have a strong angle. But CJ, I see you got one more play here. Minute on the clock. What do you like?
Yeah, and you're right, Sean. Never count out spite picks when it comes to the draft. Yeah. Like, well, they took him, so we're taking him. Screw it. Screw our team. Who cares? This is a basic one I like. This is a bet you can keep you invested for every pick in the first round, which I like. And that is we're going under 15.5 offensive players selected. It's minus 145. Not too crazy juice, but it's one I really like. Obviously, the defense has been known for having the talent in this year's draft, and I think that comes into fruition when you get to the deeper part of the first round. Once you get past the high teens and the 20s, I think that's when it's gonna be a lot of D linemen, D edges, a lot of linebackers. If you break it down, I think there's gonna be a little under. I also liked under offensive linemen 6.5, but that's kind of heavily juiced at 200. So let's just say there's 6 offensive linemen, and you got 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, a wide receiver class that's pretty weak. A lot of teams in the deep 20s going to see that blueprint of the Eagles of just loading up on the D ends. That's the main position here in this year's draft. I really like under 15.5 offensive players for the first round.
Yeah, good angle. And we'll talk a little United Football League when we return. Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN.
This is the Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back, everyone. Sports Gambling Podcast live. I'm Sean, stacking the premium for partner and picks. Ryan, Real Money Kramer. It's happening, Kramer.
I was just collecting some additional portfolio items in the break.
Add into the portfolio, and of course, Kramer, I know you're a big horse guy. Kentucky Derby right around the corner. Perfect time to hop in on the ponies. You're already betting on sports. Why not get in on the races as well? First Bet lets you wager on hundreds of horses every single day from top tracks across the U.S. and around the world. Get in over at firstbet.com. That's the number one, stbet.com. Use code VSiN200 to claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days, up to $200. Kramer, I know you already have some Kentucky Derby futures. What do you already have?
American Promise. Okay, got that at I believe 22 to 1, and then I have a Rodriguez ticket at 30 to 1, courtesy of a fun money bag.
There you go. Head over to firstbet.com and of course use that promo code of VSiN200. Hanging with us on the line, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line, the man in the box from Bottom Line Bombs, Mr. CJ Sullivan. CJ, United Football League. I was starting the show off touting the rocking chair win of the Michigan Panthers, laying the 7.5. I think you were also on the Panthers, right?
Yeah, congratulations on that. And you guys were right. I heard you guys talking about it. It feels extra. You feel extra sharp when you have those wins. You're like, what? Why are people even messing with any other sport when you have such easy, sharp, advanced winners like this? Then you see some of the highlights. You're like, oh God, that's how they want. Like there was like an interception with the ball's on the ground. But yeah, no, I love to talk some UFL. I don't mind these markets. You know, of course, it came over from the XFL. They're having a big weekend in Vegas. I know you guys were kicked out, but WrestleMania is there. You know, maybe The Rock will show up to that. He did not show up to the United Football League opener. He threw the ex-wife out there to handle that nonsense. But there's a lot of great definitely markets. Next week, by the way, if you want to bring me in as a money bag sharp that like Kramer was talking about, I run pretty good in the money bag there. I hit a Rory McIlroy for the Masters. I have a horse in the Derby. That's an 11 to 1 shot that I got for 30 to 1. Just saying, you know, there's
money bag is we know a site that you basically give them what you want for the bet.
Yeah.
And they'll give you a random future. Now the randomness is the price. Like for the Masters, they did it where it was 66 to 1, and if you get one of these, obviously it could be a very good future or very bad. CJ hit Rory McIlroy at 66-1. Of course, was kicking himself for not having more on the bet, but that's kind of a fun little sprinkle.
I was kicking myself a little bit. You like to you like to kick it when I was down as well. You said it was a little bit of a karma for UConn. I didn't make the correlation of the Lady Husky ticket, but you did. And that's fine. You know what? Hey, as long as we got to the winner's circle, once or twice is me. So anyway, we'll get to this UFL real quick. I wanted to say about this UFL because people are liking UFL segments, and we're producing winners here every week. Even your producers, like I'm going to the D, I'm putting money down. When Johnny's putting money down, I know we're big influential. People are like, how could you do it if there's a script? I'm like, there's nothing wrong. Listen, the NBA is scripted. Everything's scripted. There's nothing wrong with betting on a scripted sport as long as you can read the script. And if you know the script, then there you go. Then you have your angle. It reminded me, speaking of wrestling, it reminded me when I was a kid, I went to the Spectrum Wrestling on Tuesday. We saw Hulk Hogan versus Paul Orndorff. And there was this heckler guy, and this guy was sitting behind us, and I was rooting against Hogan. And I said, he's going to lose. I went to go bet him $5. I was a kid now, and this adult man was going to take my money until my dad stepped in, and he goes, whoa. Hey, strange man, don't take my child's money. Also, CJ, if Hulk Hogan's going to lose, it's not going to be on a Tuesday night in Philadelphia, all right? It's going to be, WrestleMania or a Saturday primetime at the Garden. So he's wrestling.
That's helping handicap some winners for WrestleMania. That. And check out
that
CJ's podcast.
That was his way of telling me. Yeah, that was his way of telling me wrestling's not real.
CJ had some wrestling talk, and again, you can get down on wrestling in some faraway places. But what do you like? 3 more games left for UFL Week 4. What's jumping out at you?
We actually have a very good game to start off tomorrow morning. St. Louis and Arlington, a rare game where there's 2 good teams and they're fighting for an actual playoff implications. So this would be about lines only 1. This is the shortest line of the game. I kind of wish it was the second game of the day, but this will be a nice morning game, so it'll be kind of a lackadaisical. I'm not even going to pick a side here because both are coming off losses. Both are going to have a nice bounce back spots, but I love the under in this game at 30. It's a huge number, 39.5, because of that St. Louis offense and the King of Spring. But Arlington, first of all, they have the number 1 defense in the league. They give up just over 9 points a game. Offensively, the last 2 weeks, they barely got by. They scored 9 versus Birmingham. Okay, you can forgive them for that. But then they only scored 12 against Houston at home the other day, and that was a tight one. St. Louis is not as explosive now. They don't have A.J. McCarron. They have Manny Wilkins. They do have a lot of elite offense, but I think it's going to be a tight, contested game with 2 great defenses, and they both like to run the ball very much. So give me Bob Stoops. Give me Tony Baloney. Give me all that. I think it's going to be a smash-mouth physical game. Under 39.5, which is a lofty number for this league.
No, I'm with you. Anytime the UFL is hanging the totals in the high 30s, that's a colossal number. And this Battlehawks offense isn't quite the same on the road and not in that dome, which clearly things are rocking. So I'm with you. I actually think Arlington as a small home dog, interesting as well, but I'm with you on the under. Kramer, anything you're doing here?
I mean, the wrong team is favored, and it's already happened, right? Every year we handicap the league and we say, you got to pay attention because there's some teams that just don't belong. We're already at a point where the USFL conference is basically locked up where Michigan and Birmingham will advance. And like CJ said, this is basically a play. They're jockeying for position here. Yeah. 3 teams, DC, Arlington, and St. Louis, 2 spots. Only 7 weeks to play. Well, something's got to give. Yeah, no, I mean, look, we have multiple copies of the Spring King.
Love the King Spring. Love the King Spring. He's covered every week, by the way.
Including a hardcover, including which will be signed by Luis Perez at some point. So
Kramer's calling a shot.
I'm obviously not going to fade Luis Perez at home. Against the St. Louis Battlehawks, who get all their juice from the home field. So yeah, I'm with you guys. I like the under.
CJ, what about the
rare book where Perez's autograph would make the value go down in that book?
Hey, you marked up this book. What about
I love Luis Perez.
Yeah, he's the Spring King. What about anything you like in that Birmingham Houston game?
Yeah, the Birmingham-Houston game. Birmingham has been, that's a big number. Now, if you would have said this, a week ago, like this line would be like 12 to me, like Houston's the worst team in the league. But all of a sudden, Houston's got a win. They played Arlington pretty tight. Maybe they're not as bad as we thought they are. They're at home getting 7.5. This Birmingham offense, I don't really trust. They only got in the red zone once last week versus Arlington. I mean, they had that bounce back game. They looked pathetic in that opener versus DC. The offense, I think the Emperor kind of has no close here with Birmingham. Now, I do think they bounce back and they will get the win. I mean, this is obviously a step down in competition for them. But I don't know if it's quite the get right game. I think it'll be sleeping. I'm just going to go under in this game. Why even? I mean, when worse comes to worse in the UFL, you play the under. And at 36.5, I don't see Houston getting into double digits. You can even have a game like tonight, and I still think that went under, even though there's a lot of scoring. It's just crazy the way it works out like that. So, yeah, under 36.5. I see this game as like a 24-6, 24-0 kind of situation. I don't see why Birmingham would want to pour this on.
Kramer, anything you like here?
Under, big time. Maybe bet of the weekend. Under in this game. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I like the under here a lot.
Even less than CJ. Like way the offense been playing, this is like a 17-8.
Well, yeah, and right. Houston's offense isn't great. I think their defense is a little bit underrated, and Birmingham's offense hasn't been dominant. Well, no. I like Houston actually with the 7.5 now.
Yeah.
But the under is pretty appetizing even at 36.5 because I don't see a ton of scoring. What about the last game of the week, CJ? Brahmas defenders, 90 seconds left. What are you doing here?
Now, this game I like a lot. This is going to be one of these old-fashioned UFL routes, I think, here. Now, the San Antonio Brahmas, who knows what's going on over there? Yeah, the offensive coordinator resigned, A.J. Smith, and then son of a bum, Wade Phillips, had no idea, apparently. Then the next week, he's gone. It's like a murder mystery going on now. It's like a Stephen King novel. What's going on? Like, where are all these coaches going? They're just walking out each week by week, and there's less of a staff. So I don't know who's going to call plays. They don't know what's going on there. This DC Defender team, they're pretty good. They're the number one team right now in the league. They're undefeated. I think they're on a mission from last year where they had a bad season. Tomo leads the league in passing with over 600 yards. They kind of had the same spot where they opened up with a win versus Birmingham. Then they had a letdown spot versus Memphis. They got the win. I think they're going to learn their lesson. This Brahmas team is just a mess. So one of the best home field advantages in the league. I think DC Defenders rolls this game. So I'll lay the 7.5, no problem.
Yeah, definitely the best. I like the under better than the side you picked because I would take the Brahmas if anything. Cleansing.
Oh, really? Yeah. I could kind of go. I could kind of be talked into the Brahmas there. Appreciate you as always hopping on CJ Sullivan. Make sure you check out Bottom Line Bombs podcast. A little WrestleMania, a little NFL draft.
Yes.
He's got it all. Coming up next, we got Sports Bet and Blackjack NFL Win Totals Edition. When we return, Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN.
This is the Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back, everyone. Sports Gambling Podcast live. Sean, second of Green with our partner in picks. Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Just shuffling some cards over here, Sean.
Yeah, getting ready.
Hoping we don't waste the blackjack.
Yeah, getting ready for a little SBJ. Before we do, of course, shout out to Unabated. Perfect time to get on Unabated. Again, profitable player prop projections, real-time NBA news, sit-start projection scenarios, and you get access to the Unabated experts. Perfect in time for the NBA playoffs. Should have listened to them instead of taking that Daniel Gafford over 3.5 points. But check out their stuff. They have and they also have a real-time NFL draft prop board, which is tough to get because a lot of places have a odds board, obviously, but they actually have the odds board for the NFL draft props. Super helpful this time of year if you're getting down on the NFL drafts. Prop stuff. Go to unabated.com/VSIN. That's UNABATED.com/VSIN. Kramer, time for some sports betting blackjack.
Should you hit?
Hit me.
You have 17, sir.
I like to live dangerously.
Should you stay? 5.
I'll stay.
I also like to live dangerously.
Let's see what the guys choose this week on Sports Betting Blackjack.
I'll get things going with a dealer hand.
Very easy. If you're new to the show, sports betting blackjack, we have fun playing blackjack, but we got to give out some picks as well. So each blackjack card coincides with this time we're doing NFL win totals, and whatever card you have coincides to a pick you have to make a case for. You're given that pick, you can't get out of it. You have to explain why this is a good pick.
So we aren't in the state of Nevada. Can we surrender allowed?
No surrender, Ryan.
All right. So you go first.
Sure. What do we? What's the dealer?
Dealer's sitting on a 2 of clubs. You have a 9 of diamonds.
Okay, like my chances already. So a 9 of diamonds. Now, what NFL win total does that coincide with? That goes with the Washington Commanders over 9.5, minus 125. Well,
yikes!
I think for the Washington Commanders, it's. I mean, how could they not win 10 games, right, Ryan? They're the Washington Commanders.
Jaden Daniels, obviously, we learned recently on the podcast, card value ahead of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, very insulting to me as an Eagles fan. But I'm a man of principle, and whatever cards I'm dealt, I will make a case for. The case for the Washington Commanders is they could regress a decent amount from their 12-5 season last year and still get over that 9.5. Obviously, they have 2 games against the Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants. Don't think either of those teams are very good. You look at some of the teams they'll be matching up in the second place schedule. You could talk yourself into some of those spots as well. But I mean, the Commanders to be 10-7, that would be a 2-game regression. That would kind of make sense. Like Jaden Daniels could be better maybe, and the rest of the guys around him not quite as good, and you still get to 10-7 to get over that 9.5 minus 125. You can hear my voice. I'm not thrilled about this, but there's a case for it. Jaden Daniels still has a pretty high floor, I think, next year. So over 9.5 for the Commanders.
You're not thrilled about it.
No.
He did look good. I will say we had a couple moments in watching on God's Eye where it was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, he's good.
It's like there's a mental aspect. For me, it was the way that he scrambled just to manipulate the defense at times. Very good. Anyway, hopefully 9 of hearts is not anywhere near as bad as that. 9 of hearts. What do we think, Sean?
9 of hearts. Okay, I see it.
All right, Jacksonville Jaguars over 7, and we're going to do this dance again. The Jags over 7.5 minus 125. So it's always the case with the AFC South, which is which one of the teams that isn't the favorite am I going to back here? So yeah, that's the whole argument. Now, you could argue let's go up and down the division. Could you argue they have the best regular season quarterback scenario? Yes.
Okay.
Could you argue that they have
pretty good D line,
the best defense? It's certainly debatable. I think most people would say Houston there, and when you look at the skill positions, and look, I'm not a Liam Cohen guy, but he's gone from like, I'm definitely fading this guy with everything to, okay, I've actually kind of enjoyed what he's had to say. And maybe this offense will be pretty good next year. So over 7.5 means they don't even need to win the division. They can come in second, which generally in this division, that's good for 8 or 9 wins. So I'm okay with this.
All right. Jaguars.
It's a regular season Goldilocks.
Yeah.
You're okay with that.
They could be 8 and 9. I could totally see that.
Especially in that division. The idea that they're winning 4 games against the Colts, and even though I kind of like the Colts better than the Jags,
Titans, Texans,
CJ Stroud, his career arc is maybe accelerating. So all right, you were both sitting on 9, Sean. Sitting all right.
9's against 2, dealer 2. Our chances.
Sean,
what did I get?
You got
a double
down situation.
Got a 2 of hearts. The 2 of hearts is the Tennessee Titans over 5.5 minus 150. I mean, I still have not gotten all the egg off my face from the Tennessee Titans.
Sean, tell everyone, maybe they're new to the program. Tell everyone what we did last year.
Yeah, we were in on the Titans. We moved the market for Will Levis, most passing yards. We had I think we put like 1,000 on it, or slightly over, basically to win 100K at the Circa. Of course, did not win, but again, it's a long shot. We didn't really get even a sweat out of it. The Titans were horrible. But
he was really bad too. It was like from week one immediately. It's like, okay, we're not winning any of this money.
But Ryan, Cam Ward seems like a guy who might be a little instant offense. And for all those reasons we liked the Titans last year, maybe Cam Ward is the guy they need to jumpstart it. And you could still be kind of bad at 6-11 and get over this. Certainly don't like the aspect where you're laying -150, but you were just talking about how the AFC South, it's not locked up. And Cam Ward does strike me as a quarterback that might be a good fit for their system. They've done some stuff to upgrade the offensive line. So, okay, Titans 6-11. Talk me into it. I'm back in on the Titans. Not really, but look, over 5.5 of
the irony is that he's not quite the roller coaster of Will Levis because the highs are higher, but he is he does have elements of being a roller coaster. So hopefully Callahan can survive. All right. My second card. Oh no, 5 of spades. This reminds me of the heater you went on recently where you just kept getting 20, 19.
Come on, Ryan. I haven't even doubled down yet. You're already trying to mush it.
I'm not trying to mush it. I'm just seeing a 14 for myself with a 5 of spades here.
You like Texans this card though?
Under 9.5, -120. I do like this. I don't know. I mean, I went from fully confident that Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud was over after the first year to I don't know if I could make a decision on which is the better quarterback. And, honestly, when you turn an offensive line over, when you turn an offense over, the system's going to change a little bit. None of that is sounding great. Now, could they be a good defensive minded team that gets it done with a good running game because their division is trash? Yes. But I'm happy to take the under 9.5. It's literally the thesis of the AFC. How have we gotten all these AFC South cards? This is ridiculous. Who's fixing this? This is the thesis. You take the under on the best team in the AFC South every time.
Kramer, I got a double down opportunity. Give it to me. 11 against the 2. Obviously, I'm doubling down.
Oh no!
And I got another 2. Kramer, you jinxed me.
2 of diamonds.
2 of diamonds. You jinxed me. I hope you're happy.
Well, you're going against the dealer too, so it's not the worst.
Seattle Seahawks under, and that is
8.5.
8.5 -140. Yeah, I was super skeptical of the Seahawks last year. They pulled it out. But now you're blowing up everything that worked for you last year, and now you're running it back. I don't know. Sam Darnold outdoors to me is a slippery situation. And I could see him in the same way they struggled playing outdoors in New York, him struggling in the Pacific Northwest. I think the Viking situation was the perfect situation for him. And who was the team that beat Sam Darnold twice? Basically the only team he couldn't beat was the Rams. Who is he playing twice again this year? Cause they're in the division, the Rams. Easy fade to the under. Seahawks under. All day on that. Kramer, I doubled down. I assume 14 against the 2. You're staying. What does the dealer have? Let's play out the dealer hand. Dealer's got a 2, and with the queen, 12, 16. One more, 8, 24. Dealer bust. I cashed my double.
Add it to the invoice. Let's get paid.
Let's get paid. Yeah. Well, does Producer Johnny, do you know, does VSiN reimburse us for this? How does that work?
Slide it in the invoice. See what happens.
How do we get paid for? I did double down. We'll have to talk to Derek about this. See if we can get some sort of VSiN sports betting blackjack reimbursement
business
program.
And blackjack, right?
Now that is Derek's profile, all-time X profile. When we return, we will talk about the last divisions for our NFL draft prop bets. Not going to want to miss that. Sports Gambling Podcast live here on VSiN.
This is the Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back, everyone. Sports Gambling Podcast live. Sean, second money Kramer with our partner in picks. Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
I mean, it's just reminded we're not playing blackjack after the show.
Nope, we're not. But we do have plenty of NBA action to sweat out. We're going to be joined by our buddy Scott Reichel from the NBA Gambling Podcast coming up next segment, who is also going head to head with us in the VSiN Killer Sports NBA Playoff Challenge. 15 sharps, winner take all. VSiN Killer Sports. We're each going to be making 38 picks from the start of the NBA playoffs all the way through the final. You're talking about 570 NBA playoff picks, all available to VSiN Pro subscribers. Just another one of the many reasons to get in on the VSiN Pro access now through August 1st for just $59. VSiN.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Kramer, last divisions to talk about, and that is we are the North, AFC, NFC North. I'll let you choose. Which one would you like to do first? What are you doing? Some more draft props.
Let's talk about the AFC.
Okay.
You talked about how, again, looking for variance. Some teams don't provide variance. I think the Ravens are a team that has pretty consistently drafted intelligently. It is still funny to remember how they drafted Mark Andrews first and then decided to draft Lamar with the second pick that year. But they're drafting at the point of this draft when I think there will be a couple offensive linemen that fit their style, couple interior guys that will be ready to go off the board. Specifically, a guy like Tyler Booker out of Alabama, Jalen Milroe's teammate, who we're talking about, also making the trip up there. I think that's the kind of guy that they could end up with. Now, certainly they could maneuver. This is the part of the draft we expect there to be some trades, but at plus 320 for the Ravens, a team that generally reloads their offensive line in motion by making selections here at the bottom of the first round. I'm going Baltimore to select an offensive line first at plus 320.
Yeah, don't hate that at all. Again, Baltimore, one of the teams you build through the trenches. Eagles have done it. I don't know if you notice, Ryan, Eagles Super Bowl champs. You draft, you use draft capital, offensive line, defensive line.
You're going to get hurt.
What do you mean?
Focusing on
Super Bowl champs,
on history
baby.
like that.
Still that Chase Daniels saying he wouldn't. Jalen Hurts not in his top 10 guys of who he would start a franchise with. Get out of here.
When I see clips from his show over there at the Athletic, sometimes it does make me annoyed because he's hot take.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
hot take.
Very much. And
Ryan Clark level.
And if you're saying bad stuff about the Eagles, it'll get a lot of shares because the Eagles fans will.
Oh yeah,
just rip into you.
Genius takes.
Genius takes. I'll go to the AFC North. I think I would not be surprised if the Cincinnati Bengals go defense. But what if the position they go, we get a little juicy price. So for me, I'll take the Bengals to use their first pick on a linebacker at 15-1. Al Golden, the new defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. You know what? One of his former jobs was, that's right, linebackers coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. So again, leaning into the idea of, hey, we will probably look to defense. We just gave this guy the DC job. We obviously like his opinion. He's pro linebacker if he was a linebacker head coach. And the Bengals are kind of in that sweet spot where, like the Bucks, you might get that first linebacker overall. And I could see that appealing. And something Ryan did a great job of identifying. He made this cool looking spreadsheet that had all the prices of the teams to draft the first position, et cetera. And if you sort by D-line edge, it is the favorite for a lot of teams. And I know people have realized, hey, you should be drafting D-line edge early, but not all these teams can draft D-line edge. And at some point, especially in the second half of the first round, defensive needy teams might not be able to take a D lineman that they have a first round grade on, but maybe there is a linebacker. So linebacker 15-1, kind of a long shot. But I think there's a decent angle for it. So yeah, give me Cincinnati linebacker plus 1500, Kramer.
Al Golden is a fellow Jersey legend from the town of Colts Neck.
That sounds
great
like
city name.
Sounds like a city Bruce Springsteen would sing about. Down in Colts Neck, they're watching the ships come in and they're clocking out, having a couple of beers at the Stone Pony.
Monmouth County, so probably a play. He might have played in
100%
played in a venue somewhere around the area.
I'm gonna Google Bruce Springsteen
Colts Neck,
New Jersey. Something's got to come up.
Maybe a talk up of him being remembered of a food drive back in '66 outside of Colts Neck. All right,
you cannot make this up. According to AI, Bruce Springsteen's primary residence is a large horse farm in Colts Neck, New Jersey.
No way.
Yes,
from the same town of where Al Golden lives as well.
Look out!
It's a small world after all, Sean. All right, let's head over to the NFC. Again, I think some of these teams we don't really like. I've tried to dive into the Packers, and I don't know if I have a strong feeling of what they want to do. If anything, I would say cornerback feels like the stronger angle. A lot of mocks having them go defensive line, I think, because of where they're drafting. But this is another team that tends to load up on offensive linemen in premium positions in the draft, especially when they're in the back end of the first round. You can get offensive linemen at plus 950 here. And again, the variance for me is like I do think cornerback is probably the chalk route that I would take, but I don't know if it's going to be defensive line. And after that, they comically have wide receiver in the mix at plus 750. They're not taking a wide receiver. So offensive line, when you're drafting at the back end of the first round, when you're in the range of maybe one of the trade up teams, certainly in the mix, and at plus 950, a crazy price. And this is one of those prices this is why you shop around right now as we sit here. And this will change as soon now that we've said it out loud to the public, but the blue book 950, the green book 3-1.
It's crazy.
That's a huge gap. Does someone know something?
Get your shopping
just the
card.
action. So Green Bay to go offensive, little double offensive line action here. Could be two interior guys too. We'll see.
Kramer, I'm with you. Give me Green Bay to go O-line at plus 950. They drafted O-line last year, Jordan Morgan, but why not run it back? You need to protect Jordan Love. You need to get the running game going. So them loading up on offensive linemen makes a ton of sense. And especially for a team like the Packers, maybe they have a couple, their eyes on a couple guys, but again, drafting later in the second half of the draft, you could, if your guy, now a lot of people are saying there aren't a ton of blue chip guys. So you don't have any blue chip guys. You go to positional value, and offensive line is one of those. So if some of the edge rushers that everyone wants, they don't need a cornerback, they don't need a quarterback. Why would they not just take an offensive lineman, add to the offensive line, and especially considering the price, you're getting nearly 10-1. Great find there, Ryan.
I would also point out that again, in that same sheet where you're basically just analyzing all teams first position drafted, unique this year because everyone has a pick, but I would, and unique in that the defensive line prospects might be a little stronger than the offensive line. But I think once you get to the bottom end of the first half, it's bottom end of the first round, it's not that different. My thesis is that you're going to just get value across the board on offensive linemen because of it. And for the Packers to be the second longest in terms of first player to be drafted offensive line, that seems out of whack.
Yeah. And you saw teams like the Eagles in the playoffs be able to get pressure on Green Bay and force them into some ugly situations. Now you can say that for a lot of teams the Eagles faced because they had a great defensive line, a Super Bowl 57 champs, but when in doubt, load up on the O-line, especially where they're at in the draft. I think that to me is where it really jumps out at me. Cause it doesn't really make much sense for them. Yeah. I guess you could talk me into some of these other ones, but certainly, D-line edge. Sure. Everyone's saying that. Cornerback. Okay. Wide receiver 750.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Especially price. If you're price sensitive at all, which you should be. And again, look at that crazy gap. So one of these places has the Green Bay Packers wrong. Why not take a little sprinkle on them to go O-line here at plus 950 and hope you get a nice little juicy winner.
Yeah. Just again, adding to the portfolio.
Think about it. If you played 8 of these, one for each division, and you just hit Green Bay O-line at plus 950, you're up. So to me, maybe you're obviously a lot of these, the longer shot ones, you're not going full units, but hey, take your unit, break it up a little bit. Maybe
speak for yourself.
Maybe quarter unit, something like that. And hope you hit one of these long shots to pay for all the possible duds. This next gentleman coming up, he's not a dud. Scott Reichel, host of the NBA Gambling Podcast, breaking down the Saturday slate and more when we return. Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN.